Oh, yeah, baby. Baby, yeah. You are on the crafted, unbelievably awesome Clark the Shark Show experience. It's not just a radio show here on WABC New York every morning, you guys, but rather you experience Clark the Shark. It's kind of like Jimi Hendrix, but I'm even fucking better, you guys. I'm not kidding. It's scarier because I'm so real. I actually terrify people. Nobody's going to sit there on camera or off trying to debate Clark the Shark. It's hopeless. You will lose. It doesn't matter who you are. Even maybe if you are God Almighty, he'll be like, Shark, I did it because damn it, you're an asshole, Shark. I fucking hate you. I mean, even God would be like, he'd just give up and start calling me names. You know, like a liberal does. Liberals lose every debate. They're always like, you know what? You're immature. You don't know what you're talking about. You never do. And that's why people don't like you. Liberals are everything they claim you are. Even when they argue with other liberals, right here on the Clark the Shark Show, 1-800-449-8255. Liberals are immature. You fucking name it top to bottom, baby. They are it. And I wonder, sometimes I'm like, why do liberals have babies? Like, why do they procreate and fucking replicate? They don't love anyone. They're miserable people, and they do that professionally. Why do they become things like head shrinks and, psychologists or psychiatric, dude, liberals shouldn't be in any position of any power. They shouldn't be doctors or lawyers, or they should just be fucking working at Target. Matter of fact, fuck that. Walmart, Target, you guys need to fire all your fucking liberals right here on the Clark the Shark Show. But, they couldn't do that because that's who fucking works at Target and Walmart and, Pretty soon someday, though, Target and Walmart will get smart. And, all the fucking liberals covered with tattoos can go work at a fucking garage sale at 1-800-449-8255. They're not even good enough to work at a garage sale. Why do they have kids? They don't love anyone. And people out there, if your mom is a liberal, dude, I feel bad for you. You're going to have a fucking shitty life. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show at 1-800-449-8255. Liberals usually own a dog for a friend because if they need one, that's all they can fucking get. Here from the golden EIB sharkerphone. It's not a microphone, you guys. It's a sharkerphone because it's made of gold. And it was given to me by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the greatest players ever in the NBA. And he came to my house and he's like, Clark the Shark, I know you're only 5'3" or, 5'2" or 5'1" or, dude, but you get this, bro. That's coming from me, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And I was like, dude, I'm there at 251 Paseo de Gracia, I'm not saying it's back in the 70s or 80s or when it was, you guys. It just happened on the wind in the vestiges of time somewhere. I saw Kareem Abdul-Jabbar come to my house in Redondo Beach or Torrance and give me the golden EIB sharkerphone. Because he was like, dude, I know Hush Bimbo came here and Hannity and Tommy Lasorda and Dick Clark and Steve Garvey. Fuck all them. I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the tallest, greatest basketball player of them all. And I have to present this to the diminutive height of the Sharky. You've earned it. And I'm like, I actually feel guilty. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar thinks I'm worth a damn. But I'm not here to talk about him or liberals or any of that fucking shit. I'm here to talk about a great band who tried to save rock and roll. Now let's frame the situation here, you guys. Airborne, Runnin' Wild. These guys are from Australia. And now in 2002, rock was in a dire straits, you guys. Not just rock music, but all music was in trouble because the 1990s came and destroyed all music. But then this band called The Darkness came out of nowhere. They had a major label deal in 2003. And, Permission to Land. And I remember me and that guy, Metal Jimmy, I actually made him metal. I took him to Iron Maiden in 2000. And he was a Christian guy with short hair wearing like alligator shirts and going to church. And I was like, fuck that, dude. This guy's going to be heavy metal. I tried to take him to AC/DC, but for whatever reason, we got into a fight that night or that afternoon, and he never went. My wife and I went to AC/DC. I think that was 2000. I think just about a week before that, though, I went to Iron Maiden with Metal Jimmy, and he actually wore a wig. Now let's go back to the year 2000. Everybody was making fun of heavy metal, and really since about 1992, maybe the first few months of 1993, there was no heavy metal. All the bands had disappeared. Guns N' Roses disappeared, Metallica disappeared, and they came back as Load and Reload with short hair. It was weird, you guys. That band from Seattle called The Douchebag Effect came along in 1991 on Geffen Records. Don't ask me how Blake Douchebag got signed, but he did. And then everything went alternative and emo and indie and, alternative rock in the 90s, and there was no heavy metal. It was really weird, but matter of fact, there wasn't even people with long hair for about 8 years. Dude, most people had like a crew cut or something, or, for Blink 182 or Green Day. And if they had any hair, it was just this neat, short Foo Fighters, haircut or. And then this went on for about a decade, from 1993 till 2003. There was no heavy metal, you guys. It didn't exist. It was on the deep underground. And even me, Clark the Shark, I made fun of it. And we all did, And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Justin Hawkins and The Darkness were all over MTV in 2003 with Permission to Land. And it was a shock. And I remember even me, Clark the Shark, I didn't quite know what to do with that. But I said to Metal Jimmy, I said, bro, I think heavy metal is going to come back, dude, or something. And we were laughing. We were just like, nah, it'll never happen, And then it did slowly come back. There were bands like Dragon Force and Airborne, and a few bands started filtering out, having the courage to crawl out of the closet in the OOs, the first decade of the 2000s. And I wouldn't exactly say it flourished in the teens, but, all those bands got onto the concert circuit, playing those festivals over in Europe and all that. And Airborne and Dragon Force were two of these heavy metal bands that did do that, you guys. Now, neither of these bands have the balls or the courage to speak up and say alternative sucks and indie sucks. And if they do, it's on the down low. But if I was a guy in Dragon Force, you can bet I'd be mouthing off and saying, Blake Douchebag sucks, fuck that, and fuck all that music that followed him and, on the coattails. And if I was in Airborne, The Darkness, or Dragon Force, I'd be talking a fucking hill of shit, doing all I can. And coming from me, Clark the Shark, that might sound weird because I am alternative and emo and indie and all that. But like I told you in other videos, it never welcomed me to the party. I was never like invited to the alternative club to come hang out. And so now today I fucking hate it. And for the past many years, and I'm like, okay, well then fuck you then. You know, you ain't my friend, I ain't yours. I'm going to go be friends with shit like Airborne, Runnin' Wild, and hang out with these guys. That's what I'll fucking do right here on the Clark the Shark show. And let me tell you guys a story. Back in like 2008, me and Metal Jimmy somehow got onto the tour bus with Airborne. Now, Jimmy became friends with these guys, maybe sending them emails or sending them their management emails or something, or he might have even wrote them a snail mail letter. I'm not sure, you guys. Or sent them a fax, but somehow Metal Jimmy got to be buddies with Airborne. And then I, Clark the Shark, I think it was 2008, maybe 2007, you guys, I can't remember, but I put Joel, the lead singer of this band, in a headlock, and I said, you, dude, you're the fucking one that's going to bring back this shitty, cheesy fucking brand of lame heavy metal, and it's up to you. And he looked at me and he was like, yeah, mate, in an Australian accent. He's like, oh, yeah. And I said, dude, don't ever fucking hang out with Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters. That guy is not your friend. I was basically like, dude, you're going to be fucking metal. And he was like, never, I swear, you know. And now I don't know what happened over time, you guys, but, you know, over the years, I guess this guy is buddies now with Grohl or whatever. I don't even fucking care. For a short time, you guys, Airborne were carrying the, you know, the Olympic torch, whatever, the mantle of metal. Them, Iron Maiden, Dragon Force, and The Darkness, and a few others out there. And there was a baby metal scene trying to get going, you know, in San Diego and California, Los Angeles, and, you know, maybe Australia and Europe and everywhere, but it never quite did, you guys. That short-haired, you know, rap rock, rap metal, grovelly, you know, screamo, that stuff, you know, and of course alternative and indie and emo and all that shit simply got too big on the scene, and metal never really made it back, you guys. But if I were to advise heavy metal out there, you guys got to talk shit, be angry, and be heavy metal. And if that means talking shit about me, Clark the Shark, so be it, you guys. But you have to man up and stand up for metal. And you can't be friends with alternative or indie or any of that fucking shit. You know, if you're going to be friends with somebody, I don't know, maybe country. I don't mean like Taylor Swift. Fuck that. I mean like shitty country from the 80s or something, or certainly shitty metal from the 80s. But you keep in mind, dude, metal is entertainment. It is bigger than life. It is not reality. It is, you know, you go down to the Troubadour down on the Sunset Strip or the Whiskey, and it's a bunch of chicks, you know, with big hair and, you know, people dressed in leather and denim and, you know, spikes and big hair. And that's metal, dude. You can't blend it with alternative or indie or emo. Metal is its own thing, you guys. It's like a fucking lame scene in the corner. It's the kids that are rejected. Kind of like Blake Douchebag himself with the douchebag effect, but a little different from that, you know. He came along and he was against metal, you know, but metal has to be for metal. I mean, you guys all have to unite with Motley Crue and, you know, Guns and Posers and Metallica, early Metallica when they had long hair, and Maiden and Slayer and all that shit. You got to be metal and you got to stay metal. And that's the only way metal is going to come back. And you got to talk shit about other styles of music. I'm sad to say this, you guys, but if you want there to be heavy metal, that's just the way it's got to be. Metal is angry and it takes no prisoners and it has no friends but metal. It gets drunk, drinks whiskey, smokes whatever, and, fucking smashes shit on the tour bus and goes insane or whatever, wrecks a hotel, like Keith Moon, but even fucking worse. Metal is metal. And Airborne, the thing I was a little disappointed was when I met them, these guys were really well behaved and professional. They were drinking, and Joel is crazy on stage. He climbs way up in the air. But I don't think these guys really understood psychologically exactly what they were doing being a heavy metal band back in, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, playing those big gigantic festivals like Wacken, over in Europe and etc. When you are heavy metal, you have to stand up for metal and take a lot of shit for metal and talk a lot of shit in defense of metal, etc. You just have to, dude. Otherwise, there will be no metal scene. If heavy metal tries to be politically correct and get along with the liberals, get along with indie and alternative and emo and country and Taylor Swift, and rap and new metal and rap rock and all that shit, well, then metal will never come back. Metal has to be a ruling class. I can't really explain it or put my finger on exactly what I am even saying right now, but I truly do understand this somewhere. And so too do all of you right now, right here on the Clark the Shark Show. But I want to talk about the importance in history of this band Airborne and this album Runnin' Wild. Now, a lot of people say, well, they're just an AC/DC tribute. They're from Australia, or maybe at the best, they're like a poor man's Def Leppard or Jackal or some LA glam sound, long ago and long forgotten on the Sunset Strip. That isn't really true, you guys. That is just a metaphor, allegorical, descriptive, nondescript, generic way of talking about Airborne. And of course, that our friends in the Democrat liberal community in journalism, they will say that and they will try to marginalize this band, Airborne, any way they can, as best they can, until things get desperate and there is a need for money. And we are kind of getting close to that now, you guys. One day this genre, heavy metal, hard rock, will come back. I don't know when. Right now it is January 2, 2024. Who knows? Maybe this video I'm doing right now here on the Clark the Shark Show will be the catalyst. But let me tell you, if this band Airborne and before them, The Darkness in 2003 and Dragon Force and Iron Maiden touring in 2000 didn't do it, I don't know what will. But who knows, you guys? I always hold out hope that heavy metal will come back. Of course, it has to have a street team. It has to have a bunch of lunkhead kids on the street in LA, San Diego, and, the East Coast, Chicago, Detroit, New York, Boston. Long hair with leather, denim, kids that maybe are a little prejudiced, and outlandish, and they say, shit out of their mouth and they don't always know what they're talking about kind of kids. But that scene has to materialize and get going, people, or there will be no heavy metal. There has to be like a Alice Cooper type of thing burgeoning. And if it doesn't happen, it may never happen. But Airborne, Runnin' Wild, this was a phenomenon in its day. These guys made it onto the charts. They made it onto Roadrunner Records. They made it onto big tours and big festivals. And there was an illusion that this was a big band on the scene. There was that perception, whether it was real or not, earned or not, it certainly was earned in my view, Clark the Shark. Uh, all four of these guys were great guys back in the day. Back in, their formative days when they began, probably 2003 to 2009, the first 6 years of this band was very important. Since then, they've kind of become careerists, gotten on the tour scene, with all the other hard rocking bands. And, their subsequent albums after this one never again achieved the glory of this album, Runnin' Wild. Basically, in my view, this is their debut, even though there is an album before this that I think was self-produced by them when they didn't have a real big-time record label. This is their major label debut for certain, you guys. And, hey, it got to 106 on the fake Billboard 200 charts, you guys. So somebody was trying to help them or promote them or do advertising for them. Who knows? Maybe even it was me, Clark the Shark. We'll never know, you guys. But the rock gods were certainly trying to propel this band. And for many years, this band was indeed propelled right here on the Clark the Shark show. It's kind of like Jesse Waters' World. This whole world, this whole planet Earth is a matrix simulation discovered by Elon Musk, but it's really a sharkulation run by me, Clark the Shark. And who knows, you guys, perhaps I invented Airborne as a last-ditch effort to save rock, and I put them in the sharkulation. And maybe it was me who wrote all these cheesy heavy metal rerun songs that they did. I don't really know this as a vinyl album, you guys. I know this only as a CD. But this is kick-ass, lame, shitty metal at its best, you guys. It's fucking awesome. If you are a cheeseball metaler from the Sunset Strip back in the 80s, you're going to fucking love this album. And me, Clark the Shark, the real Clark the Shark, would probably have hated this and made fun of it. But because Blake Douchebag and the liberals didn't invite me to the party in the 90s, now I fucking love this shit and stand up for rock and roll, baby. Fuck yeah. Track number 1, I've played a million times and I fucking love it. Runnin' Wild, of course. Amazing, awesome. The big hit on the album, you guys, track 3, Too Much, Too Young, Too Fast. It functions as the early anthem by Airborne. Just kick-ass, cheesy, AC, noisy, wannabe, Def Leppard, Jackal, Cinderella. Kick-ass, you guys. Awesome. Diamond in the Rough, too. The album starts to kind of get into some bland, generic shit, but it's still good. Fat City, Blackjack, What's Eating You. I still fucking like it, and I was throwing up devil horn, salutes to it, a la, Ronnie James. Back in the day, you guys, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, back when GE, the Greenhouse Effect, my band was really, really big on the internet. And it was in the middle of that, I think 2010, I went up to Joel and I was like, dude, here's my CDs with the Greenhouse Effect. It was just a half-hearted effort on the tour bus. And he was just looking at me like, mate, people give me shit all the time. I can't do anything. The old story where a guy with a demo or a tape is like, dude, here's my demo. It was like, cliche, that kind of shit. But Girls in Black, awesome. Cheap Wine and Cheaper Women. Ain't that the fucking truth, you guys? And Heartbreaker. kick ass, you guys. I mean, if there's a generic, maybe shitty song, it might be Hellfire or, you know, Dirty Angel, the bonus track. But all in all, in general, just like The Darkness, Permission to Land before it, this is the return of kick-ass, lame, cheesy heavy metal, like it or not, you guys. This fucking album, I wish all rock and roll music would go to this on every radio station. And I wish Green Day, Foo Fighters, and Taylor Swift and Pink would just get fucking flushed down the toilet with a big old fucking hairy piece of brown shit and maybe some vomit twirling down with it. Because I want to see rock and roll be like Airborne, Runnin' Wild. And I'm going to review all their albums, you guys, because after this album, which was so fucking amazing, this one, they put out a couple more interesting albums, and I listened to those too. Now, one of them, I think it was from 2013, Black Dog Barking. I didn't really like that album enough when I heard it. I want to go back and revisit it, play it, and because one day recently I heard some of it, and I was like, this kicks ass. It reminds me of Runnin' Wild. And maybe I didn't pay enough attention, you know, in 2013 or 2014, whenever that was. And the other album, there's this album with like a tornado and a chick on a couch and whatever that was called. I can't remember, you guys, from 2010. Oh, yeah, like No Way, Like the Hard Way or something. You guys, Airborne had a little thing going with 3 albums. They were on the scene, kicking ass, taking no names, taking no prisoners. This band, as best as they could, were trying to bring back rock and roll. They could have done more, you guys. They could have tried harder. That being said, I almost feel like they did all they could right here on the Clark the Shark Show. But let me tell you, I celebrate this band. And I celebrate Justin Hawkins and the Darkness. I celebrate Dragon Force. And I celebrate the return of Iron Maiden with Bruce Dickinson, you guys. These 4 bands and some others have been the important people trying to bring metal back. You know, fuck Guns N' Roses. Not them. I'm not going to include them. I'm just going to say the bands that keep it real with the Sunset Strip, with the really shitty LA glam, fucked up whiskey, you know, down Hollywood Boulevard, Sunset kind of shit, circa 1987. For me, Dragon Force, Airborne, Maiden, and the Darkness did that. And they tried, and there were some people inside the music industry at major labels who were trying along with them, you guys. It could be out of necessity because alternative, indie, emo, rap rock, and, you know, rap heavy metal are dying, you guys. Who knows? All that shit on the Uproar, you know, festival, you know, Roadrunner Records shit is dying out. Who knows? Slowly but surely. And here in 2024 could be the year that shitty metal lives again or really begins again. And it got its gasoline from the past, 24 years or so, you guys. Ever since Bruce joined Maiden in 2000, he was out of the band for 8 years, you guys. And they got that guy, Blaze Bailey or whatever, and it wasn't the same. That was the catalyst for these other important bands to come along and try to snuff out alternative rock. And baby, they almost damn well succeeded. But I think tomorrow it will happen, you guys, right here on the Clark the Shark Show. And I want you to go buy Airborne and celebrate these guys. They've gotten a little older now. It's not the same, but who knows? Maybe they will hear and or see this review on YouTube, and they will find the light in the darkness or whatever it is. I can't put my finger on it. And they will at last know how important it is for metal to get going again and be what it was in the 80s. And believe you me, I wanted to see metal die. I was some punk rocker in Flipside and the whole bit, you know. I was on the underground into my psychedelia and all that shit. And, you know, I thought that when Blake Douchebag got signed and when the Douchebag Effect got on the Billboard charts and they knocked Michael Jackson out of #1 or whatever, I thought that was the signal from the rock gods to me, Clark the Shark, that me and my band, the Greenhouse Effect GE, were going to be the band of the 90s. But it never happened. Maybe done by people behind the scenes or not. I don't know. But you can't stop Clark the Shark, you guys, because I'm everything. I am heavy metal, and I am blues, and I am country, and I am alternative and indie, and I am psychedelic, and I am jazz, classical, you fucking name it, baby. I am everything. It doesn't matter with me, Clark the Shark. I can do anything I want on every and many levels. And right now, I'm telling you all to get into Airborne here in January 2024, because going forward here on planet Earth, it's going to be important that heavy metal with long hair and leather starts fucking rocking on the scene. And I think it will. And in some weird, twisted way, that might help me and further me, Clark the Shark. I don't know. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I don't care. Just so long as we see the death of indie, emo, alternative, and all that fucking weak shit. I root for Airborne, Runnin' Wild, to run forever. I hope they do, you guys. I root for Bruce Dickinson, asshole though he may be, or whatever, and or Justin Hawkins, or Sam Totman and Herman Lee. I don't give a fuck if these people are personal assholes on the tour bus. I don't care. I care about the rock and roll they fucking play on stage. Me, Clark the Shark, and I want you to care about it and root for it too. Politically and or otherwise. And you tell them that you heard it here on the Clark the Shark show. Save humanity, you guys, and save mankind, and fucking man up and listen to some fucking rock and roll. This isn't even really heavy metal. This is kick-ass, wannabe AC/DC, Def Leppard, cheesy rock and roll that fucking matters. It does, you guys. Hey, if you're going to say Blake Douchebag is important because he copies the Stooges and the Pixies, well, then you can say that Airborne is important because they copy AC/DC or Def Lep. They really don't, you guys. This has its own original sound. It does. Be it cheesy or whatever, or silly, I don't fucking care. I like it, and I've rocked out to this many times in my day, right here on the Clark the Shark show. Buy this at Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, everywhere. And go up to Joel and say, hey, bro, Clark the Shark and Metal Jimmy care about you, and we fucking care about rock and roll. And that's all we were trying to say to you, dude. You don't need to fucking hang out with Dave Grohl, Joel. You don't need to, bro. You are an important fucking guy. All you metal people, dude, you guys got to stay metal. Don't even fucking hang out with me, Clark the Shark. I'm only telling you how important it is for every heavy metal douchebag out there to stay metal and stay fucking lame and stay cheesy. Keep fucking getting fucked up and wearing leather and denim. Keep being a fucking douchebag. It's up to you to procreate and replicate, you guys. You're important. You are fucking important too. And I want you to stay true right here on the Clark the Shark Show. Listen to some Airborne. Listen to The Darkness, Permission to Land, and One Way Ticket to Hell and Back. Listen to Dragon Force, Through the Fire and the Flames, and anything by Maiden with Bruce. Fuck yeah, baby. Go ahead, dude. Listen to fucking Motley Crue. I don't fucking care, dude. Crank that fucking shit in all its lame, shitty, twisted glory. Fucking let it be heard, rock it loud. And you tell them that Clark the Shark told you. And I'm out of here. Peace.